First of all, um, I would like to start this live stream by talking about the things I do for you people. To research this, I had to go onto the Autism Speaks website, and let me tell you, it wasn't a fun experience. Not only did my eyes hurt by the end by just how much I had to roll them, but every time I went to a different part of the website, they kept asking me for my location. They're after me! Actually, I just didn't realize that there was a remember this choice checkbox every time the pop-up appeared. It took an embarrassingly long time for me to realize it was there. I am not always the most observant person. This live stream is probably going to be shorter than my usual ones because this isn't going to be about the concepts of autism awareness and acceptance, but on the movements specifically. And there's only so much that can be talked about since there's only so much information. They've only been going on for so long. Anyways, onwards. Oh, that looks weird. Let me just adjust this. I am new to this. Having chat and stuff. Alrighty. Okay. Autism Awareness Month started in 1970 by the Autism Society. And before you think that the Autism Society is good for starting this, they aren't. They really aren't. It was founded in 1965 by several people. None of them autistic, most of them parents of autistic children. Two of note would be Bernard Rimland, who believed that autism was caused by vaccines and needed to be cured, and was also the founder of the organization Defeat Autism Now. Another one of the founders was Ivor Lovaas, the father of ABA. If you want to learn more about that train wreck, just watch my live stream on ABA. The Autism Society is also the organization that created the puzzle piece ribbon. Not the symbol, the ribbon. You know how there's the pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness and the purple ribbon for epilepsy awareness. Well, there's a puzzle piece ribbon for autism, thanks to these people. They also worked with Autism Speaks to help advocate for the Autism Cares Act in the US. For those who don't know, the Autism Cares Act, which used to be known as the Combating Autism Act, invested billions, yes, billions of government funds into research for treating and curing autism. Much like Autism Speaks, the Autism Society mostly focuses on helping the families of autistic people rather than autistic people themselves. They have made some good steps like adding autistic people to their board and supporting legislation that would ban restraint and seclusion in schools, which is great. But it's hard to see them as a good organization when they still continue to treat autism as a disease that needs to be cured. But we'll see what the future holds for them. Now that I've talked about the organization that started Autism Awareness Month, let's get more into the history of Autism Awareness Month itself. When it started, it was actually called National Autistic Children's Week, since back then it was still believed that autism was mostly something that affected children and that they'd magically grow out of it somehow. It was later changed to Autism Awareness Month in 1984 when people realized that that wasn't the case. Not sure why they changed it from a week to a month, but hey, I'm not complaining. Also, just a note, this year, 2021, is the first year that the Autism Society is shifting from Autism Awareness Month to Autism Acceptance Month. Better late than never, I guess. It was in 2008 that the UN designated April 2nd as being World Autism Awareness Day. I'm guessing the reason they chose the 2nd and not the 1st was to make it sure it wasn't treated as a joke, since April 1st is April Fool's Day. That would have been interesting. Let's try for autism awareness. Psych! Fooled you! April Fools! Yeah, I don't think that would have gone over well. Many autism organizations jumped on board with Autism Awareness Month, including Autism Speaks. In 2010, a couple years after World Autism Awareness Day started, Autism Speaks started up their Light It Up Blue campaign. Blue was the color chosen since Autism Speaks, in all their wisdom, decided that blue was the color of autism because of the incorrect assumption that autism mostly affects boys. And blue is the color for boys for some reason, even though blue was a girl color until the 1940s, but we won't go down that rabbit hole. Anyways, with the Light It Up Blue campaign, Autism Speaks' goal was raising awareness of autism by inviting people to replace their front porch light bulbs with blue light bulbs. By 2012, this movement had hit Facebook and spread like wildfire. As many of you probably already know, Autism Speaks used this opportunity to completely hijack Autism Awareness Month and use it as a great way for more people to donate to them. I actually originally thought that Autism Speaks was the organization that started Autism Awareness Month, and I doubt I'm the only one. When people hear the words Autism Awareness Month, they often automatically think of the Light It Up Blue campaign. By 2015, there were 18,602 buildings, including homes, businesses, and even national monuments in 142 countries who were lighting it up blue. It had gone global, much to the chagrin of many, many autistic people. When the UN started Autism Awareness Day, they wanted it to be for upholding autistic human rights and to educate people on the reality of autism to counteract the stigma. But Autism Speaks destroyed that in hopes of making more money. Ever since Autism Speaks rebranding, they've been on this big kindness kick, which is laughable when it comes from them. For their 2021 Light It Up Blue campaign, they're continuing this kindness thing. On their website, they're saying that for Autism Awareness Month, that we should lead with kindness, learn with kindness, connect with kindness, care with kindness, and give with kindness, which is rich coming from them. Also notice that they're not following the Autism Society's example, and they're still calling it Autism Awareness Month instead of Autism Acceptance Month. Says a lot, doesn't it? Of all their calls to kindness, lead, learn, connect, etc., there's no listen with kindness. On the Autism Society's website, they explain why they changed from Autism Awareness to Autism Acceptance. And that's because they listened to the autistic community. I don't know. I just feel that it really tells you a lot about Autism Speaks. When the Autism Society, an organization with Lovas as one of its founders, can listen to the autistic community and change, but Autism Speaks can't. They'd rather fearmonger and stigmatize than actually do anything to help the people they claim to want to help. I guess that's better for their pocketbooks. I promise I will have this more streamlined by next time.
Well, what can you do? It's the first time you've added something brand new and like this, and hey, the chat and the video is awesome.
Yay! Pardon me. The switch from Autism Awareness Month to Autism Acceptance Month started in 2011 by a board member of ASAN, the Autism Self-Advocacy Network. So this is the 10th anniversary of the switch. Yay! I didn't know that until researching this. I wish I had known earlier. I could have made a comic or something about it. I don't know. Oh well. I have other stuff planned. This board member is Paula Durbin Westby, who is also an autistic disability rights activist. Asan stated, and I quote, "Acceptance of autism as a natural condition in the human experience is necessary for real dialogue to occur." Asan also explained that acceptance is an active process that requires both a shift in thinking and an action. Awareness is passive. You can be aware of something and change nothing about how you think or act. Acceptance, on the other hand, requires change. That's why the shift was so important. There are plenty of people who are aware of autism's existence, but don't accept it. Try to cure it and treat it. Paula explained that she decided on changing it from autism awareness to acceptance because awareness had been tried already. Autism awareness is ad campaigns saying that autism is more prevalent than pediatric cancer, diabetes, and AIDS. Autism Awareness is that dreadful I Am Autism video made by Autism Speaks that's shot like a horror movie where autism sounds like a slasher villain. Autism Awareness certainly made people aware of autism, but misrepresented it so horribly that it's viewed as something as bad as a deadly disease. Autism Awareness was tried, and it failed us. It failed autistics. So it became our job to take the charge and change the narrative. And that's what Paula did. She'd had enough and decided to try and take the reins away from neurotypicals. She chose the word acceptance specifically because one of the definitions of acceptance is positive welcome and belonging. She didn't want us to be seen as, I accept you. She didn't want it to be seen as, I accept you, but not your autism. She wanted to show that autism was part of us, and that if you were going to accept us, you had to accept our autism. In 2013, Asan made an autism acceptance website, which has a whole bunch of resources, including a book called Welcome to the Autistic Community, and it's 100% free to download. I'll link the website below. When Autism Acceptance Month started spreading online, it was found that there were actually many people, autistic and not, who were sick of the message autism awareness was spreading. The message that autism was a sorry, was a monster that needed to be thwarted. Paula said that in 2017, she wanted to see how much autism acceptance had changed the narrative by doing online searches for both uh, autism awareness and autism acceptance. What she found was that horrible speeches on autism that were made during previous years of Autism Awareness Month had been deleted by the organizations that once promoted them. The more acceptance spread, the more that people complained about these negative views. So these organizations were forced to remove this content to avoid bad press.
Okay. Now, it's been noticed that someone was asking about how autistic people are treated in China. Uh, Being a teacher here, I have some firsthand experience with that. And sadly, like with pretty much all mental illnesses here in China, we're very much stuck in the past where it's just, we don't say or do anything in response to this. This is in response to Beta Person 2021, their question. It's still very much like it was even 50 years ago. No, I guess it would be closer to 60, 70, when it was just completely shunned. You don't talk about it. It's asylum-worthy sort of things here in China, although there's no asylums whatsoever in regards to that for anyone who is not like, I don't think there's any major asylums here. I'd have to actually look that up though, so don't quote me on that. It's not properly acknowledged. There's not really a lot of tools in place. It's basically up to the teachers. Do you know how to help kids who have autistic traits to get them through this kind of thing? And I have been able to help a few, but it's the sort of thing you have to literally notice it yourself. Be like, hey, do we have any information on this? Because the parents won't tell you. The school isn't allowed to tell you. No one is allowed to be told about this. It's very much a situation that is regrettable for a lot of these students, especially once I figure it out and suddenly I can help them and they do better because I make sure either I'm not loud around them. I'm a loud person. Perhaps it's as much as when they have to take a test, they get to go to what we call the success room and have a quieter space, that kind of thing. Just for all these different things, and it's not properly acknowledged. The hopeful thing about all of this, though, for all of you, the hopeful thing is, guess what? This younger generation, the one I'm teaching, the ones who have just recently graduated, are literally telling teachers, I want to go into psychology so that I can help everybody else. My parents don't get this, but I am seeing so many people having mental health issues because they get it and they want to bring it into the modern sort of era with regards to how we view and look at mental health. So there's a lot of positivity on the horizon.
Thank you for answering that question. Yeah, in this case, you're much better equipped to do that than me. So, as I was saying before, I was very, what's the word? Importantly interrupted. I guess that's a way of putting it. It was an important question to answer. So, just as Autism Acceptance Month is a counter movement to Autism Awareness Month, there have been a couple of counter movements to combat against the Light It Up Blue campaign. And that's Red Instead and Light It Up Gold. From what I understand about the Red Instead movement, the color red was chosen because blue is often seen as a color for loss, grief, and despair, whereas red is the color for passion and love. Here in China, the color red symbolizes joy and celebration. And these symbols of red are so important when it comes to autism acceptance. Love autistic people, don't mourn them. Celebrate autism, don't despair over it. Light It Up Blue encourages people to wear blue, so Red Instead encourages people to do the same, but with red. They have some pretty cool shirts if you want to check them out. I know there are some on Amazon and Redbubble. I'm sure there are more on places like Spring, previously known as Teespring, and other such websites. Just look up Red Instead on these sites. Or hashtag Red Instead, all one word. That works too. Light It Up Gold seems to be a bigger movement in the UK, but it's still seen in other places. You know how I have my rainbow infinity symbol? You can see it there on screen. The rainbow infinity symbol represents neurodiversity, while the gold one represents specifically autism. Many autistics use the gold infinity symbol instead, and honestly, I can't blame them. Just using the fill tool to color that symbol gold would have taken a much shorter time than what it took me to make that rainbow design. The color gold was chosen for a reason that I can very much stand behind. A pun! AU is the chemical symbol for gold because of its Latin name, aurum, and the word autism starts with the letters AU. AU has even become a common suffix for people to identify themselves as autistic online. If you see a screen name that has AU at the end, they're probably autistic. The AU will usually be typed with both letters having the accent circumflex, which is the little hat on the letters. I'm sure there's an English term for this accent, but I'm Canadian and only learned about it in French class. So, where do we go from here? The message of autism acceptance is spreading, but I know from experience, from comments on previous Autism Acceptance Month posts that I've made, that there are still people who push against this notion. I remember one post, this one, where I had Honeydew climbing these large steps. The first one says Autism Awareness, the second one says Autism Acceptance, and the final step has Autism Appreciation. And I had this one person just leave this raging comment about how autism shouldn't be appreciated. Apparently it was a step too far. Sorry. We still have a ways to go. Autism Speaks still has a lot of sway, and their Light It Up Blue campaign still gets a lot of attention. But the only way we can do anything about it is to continue pushing for autism acceptance and pushing against Light It Up Blue and Autism Speaks in general. One day, autistics will be leading voices when it comes to autistic matters. And there's only one way to get there, and that is to never stop climbing. All right, time to answer this week's email. The email reads, During a holiday with my family, my uncle touched me on the shoulder, and I really dislike physical touch unless I expect it or am the one initiating it. But I don't know how to tell my uncle who did this that I don't like being touched. Do you have any ideas? So, thank you for that email. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. In this situation, I would advise that you be firm but polite. Explain to your uncle that you don't like being touched unexpectedly, and that if he wishes to put his hands on you, that he needs to give ample warning so you have time to say no if you want to. If your uncle argues against you, put your foot down. Explain that this is your body and you decide who touches it, not him. Tell him that if he can't respect your bodily autonomy, then you will interpret that as him not respecting you. If he still wants to argue, then avoid him. If he refuses to respect you and your boundaries, I see no reason to keep up with the act of civility. I hope that this helps and that your uncle listens to you. I know that sometimes people have this notion that they don't have to respect the bodily autonomy of those younger than them, especially if that younger person is underage. Kids who are forced to give family members hugs or kisses when they really don't want to. Honestly, I really hate that. Personally, I also hate unexpected touch. Even my own partner has learned to give me ample warning before touching me so that I have the opportunity to say no, but also so I know that it's coming. I remember one time when we had only been living together for a short time. I was heading out to catch the bus, and my partner came up behind me and gave me a hug. I was so caught off guard that I couldn't speak. I just went, "Nyag!" and actually pried myself out of their arms. It took a while for me to be able to put into words why I reacted that way. I actually made a comic about it, which will be appearing on Flashback Friday, I think late next month, on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. My apologies to my Instagram followers. Now, before I thank my patrons, I just want to say something. I don't know if you're watching right now, but happy birthday, Nikki. Since I'm streaming this on your birthday, I thought I'd tell you happy birthday, since calling you up would be a bit more difficult and costly. I'm so lucky to have met you back in grade school. I can't remember if it was in grade 1 or 2, but still. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday because you're such an awesome person and an amazing friend. Just thank you for being my friend. You've done more for me than you may realize. And of course, time to thank my patrons. Of course, number 1 is my dad, as always. Thank you, Dad. Thank you to Dominic. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Nick. You are awesome. And so are all of my other patrons. You are all awesome. Sorry that this live stream was shorter. It's just, there's only so much I could talk about it, since, again, I was only talking about the concept, the movements, not the concepts themselves. Because, yeah, that's what I felt like doing. I'm sure I could talk a lot about the difference between the concepts themselves and about the concepts. But I felt that the spotlight should be given to the movements themselves. Anyways, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. And I'm so happy I was able to get the chat in there on the screen. I had to look up a video because there was one video that I was like, yeah, you do it this way. And it was just for how to put the chat in OBS, not on screen, just on OBS Studio. So you have chat there on the screen. And it's just like, no, I want it like on the video. Like, how do I do that? So yeah, I had to look that up. Last time I had completely forgotten until like 5 minutes before a live stream. I'm like, no, I can't. But anyways, thank you all for coming. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. And I will talk to you later. Next weekend, there is no live stream, but there will be the weekend after. Alrighty.